Do.
That's how I'd end it. I'll just go. I don't know the words. I
Oh, come
can't remember the
on.
words.
We'll find the
Jason.
words, mate. It's fine.
It's Jason. I close my eyes, drew back the curtain
Whoa.
to see
You
for
see for
certain
certain.
what I
Whoa.
thought I knew. Come on, we can have this. Come on, we can have this going on the terraces. You know the new standing seats at the city. This could, we could start smashing out James Technicolor Dreamcoat. What we need to do now is try and work out a player to fit the words around, so it can become a fan song for a player.
One day it might fit. Might find someone.
Which players haven't got a song that deserve a song? Ruben Diaz has not got a song, has he?
Yeah, it's a big name to fill in, though, isn't it?
Oh, it is.
Can't just go and Diaz.
Right, so if we can get somebody to create us a song with Jason the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat for Ruben Diaz, that would quite possibly make my day. It's not happening, is it? The worst thing is now, my brain is doing overtime thinking, what could have changed Dreamcoat into kit, shirt? Oh, I don't know. It's
What's the line with that in again? Whoops.
I wore the coat with golden lining, bright colours shining.
Never got that far in the song.
Ah, wonderful and new. My voice is terrible.
Better than mine. Dear me.
Good evening and welcome to the Manchester is Blue show. We have a guest appearance from Bibby tonight. How are we doing, Bibby? You okay?
Good evening. Thank you very much for inviting me.
Any City fans are very much welcome, but especially City fans that have got Oasis and Sonic the Hedgehog in their background, especially welcome. We got Dan and Brian. How are we doing, lads? Are we okay?
Yeah, double well, mate. Yeah.
Cracking. Absolute cracking.
Fantastic. Let's jump straight into it. Dan, last time you were on, I said the next game is going to be a massive game, almost cup final. That was 3 or 4 games ago. We're going into the Leeds game, and pretty much every game at the moment it's a massive game. It's a cup final. We need to win, and I think I've been saying that for the past 20, 25 games. This is honestly I'm Billy. Just so you know, I'm the type of City fan that I worry far too much for my own
I'm the
good.
same.
I worry far too much for my own good. I'm always pessimistic. I'm always thinking, when's the next hurdle we're going to fall over? And I just keep thinking, Leeds are going to do us over. And I don't know why. I've just got this mentality of like, it's all going to go wrong. It's all going to come crumbling down against Leeds. Dan, give me something positive to think about towards this game, pal. What are you thinking towards it?
Well, to go back to what you were saying about cup finals, I think you've been saying that since game day 1 or something like that. Bloody hell. Yeah, it'll be interesting, won't it? I mean, last game was 1-1, wasn't it? Early on in the season, I still to this day cannot make out what Leeds are. Whether they're just a very good team, or riding the luck, or just don't give a damn about the scoreline. Just we'll score more than you. But you're so inconsistent with the results. You know, one week they'll win, next week they'll lose. I mean, going back to a couple of months ago when they beat Leicester and lost the next game, and Leicester are on high-flying form at the moment. So there is part of me that agrees with you about we could get done over, you know, least expectant. But I honestly couldn't give you a proper prediction on my behalf. I just don't know what to expect from the game. I don't even expect the lineup to be anywhere close to what we predict. I mean, normally 9 times out of 10 when is a game that we know, predicting a Pep lineup is you might as well have a better chance of winning the lottery than doing that. But it'll be an interesting game, a very attacking game though. For the neutral, it's going to be a good one.
I'm gonna take you all back to the 3rd of October last year. Ruben Diaz's debut alongside Emerick Laporte. Beginning of October, Ellen Road. Wasn't a firework game, was it? I'm certainly hoping for more of a scoreline. What do you reckon, Brian? How do you think we're going to go into this game?
In terms of Leeds, we are their perfect sort of opposition, really. You know, we'll have a lot of the ball. They are built for counter attack. You know, they're built for pressing. So it's going to be it's a sort of game that their team is designed to win against, which is probably why they've done so well against other teams that have had the ball like Leicester and stuff. And I mean, the game against United, they obviously got hammered, but they were still probably quite a good. They were still good in that game. So these sort of teams that bring it to them, they're built for that. So I think it's probably going to be quite a difficult game. And it'll probably stand as really good stead for Wednesday as well. We'll have a team there that we're probably going to have quite a bit of ball, but they've posed quite a good threat with some pretty average players. They've got some good players, but they're not all top 6, top 8 play. Top that sort of squad. But these guys they're built well. They're tactically sound. And Bielsa, there's that little bit of needle in there. It's not necessarily needle, but there's that little bit of Bielsa wants to prove himself against Pep and Pep's style, doesn't he? And it's like that's the intrigue as this game as a neutral, like Dan just said. It's
a funny one, isn't it? Bibby, I'm going to come on to you. We obviously played false nines against Dortmund, understandably so, because we weren't expecting to have as much possession as what we normally do. Are you expecting to see Sergio or Jesus start this weekend against Leeds?
Yeah, I mean, there was quite a few times in the game against Dortmund where we was putting the ball into the danger zone, into the old mixer, the old 6-yard box, and there was no instinctive players to get into those positions to be able to finish them. I'm trying to think of who it was that was on the right. I think it might have been Mahrez. I mean, obviously De Bruyne came from the attacking side of midfield to come in and finish early on, but it's those areas where I think that we always seem to miss Aguero, and that's one thing that I hope next season that we're able to try and buy someone that can get into those areas. When we play a false nine, I'm always thinking, but who's going to be in the mixer? Who's going to be in that corridor? Who's going to be following up if the keeper ends up parrying it and putting it in? Because every single time that we play a false nine, it seems that we lack bodies in the box, and that's something that I hope that we don't end up having this weekend. I do think that Leeds won't show us as much respect as most teams do. They've got a system. They'll just be trying to. They're safe now. They're not going to get relegated. They're fighting to stay in the top 10. I think they're having personally a very good season. I didn't expect them to be playing as well as they have been doing. They've been getting points against teams that I didn't think they'd pick up points from. Whether or not they're going to try and put a dent in our home stretch for the title, I'm not too sure. I do think we'll end up beating them quite convincingly. I just hope that we have. I don't see Twitter is kind of a shitstorm when it comes to stuff like this, because I genuinely have no idea why people slag Jesus off as much as they do. I do think he brings something else that's maybe not to the kind of striking capabilities that Aguero has, but he does bring a lot more. He brings other players in. He brings your wingers in. He plays a nice 1-2 with whoever it is that's playing behind him, whether or not it's Bernardo, whether or not it's Foden, or it's Kevin. Either one of them players, he can always bring them in. Again, every time I play a false nine, it gives me false hope that we're going to score.
I'd love to see the statistics on our 6-yard box goal conversion compared to the previous years, from this season to previous years, because I do think we are missing that fox in the box.
Yeah.
My thing to add to that is, when we play a false nine, or maybe sometimes 2 false nines, there's always that thing where the person who's playing the false nine is actually covering 2 roles, and they're never ever going to be in the perfect position when it comes to the final role all the time. Like De Bruyne came in midweek and was in the perfect position, but he's never ever going to be in that position every time like a 9 would. So we get the benefits of having an extra midfielder, but kind of miss a bit when we haven't got genuine number 9 in that. Somebody is literally, that is their job every time.
Yeah. Well, the stat that always stands out most to me is, was it 100 goals that Ruud van Nistelrooy scored from inside the box for United?
Yeah, it's phenomenal.
Exactly. Like when Aguero's not playing, we kind of don't have that. Like, there's someone who's going to turn on a dime and shoot obviously, like you mentioned before, we'll end up coming towards our transfer targets, but there's only 2 people in my mind who I think that we could try and buy who have that kind of instincts. One of them's a young lad, one of them's the England captain. So I'm fairly certain we'll get onto that later on. But yeah, there's only 2 players in my mind that I think would even come close to the goal scoring capabilities that Aguero's had for us.
Who's the other one?
Well, it's Haaland and Kane.
Right.
That's what I said, wasn't it? I said,
yeah.
As much as everybody wants to say that Harry Kane's this and that, the other is literally the perfect replacement.
I just have massive issues with Harry Kane's injury record. I know I probably shouldn't.
Yeah, you threw me on the bus, didn't you, last week with that?
Yeah, sorry, mate. It's still scraping you off the tarmac, actually.
You say injury record though, Tom.
Oh, here we go. There's
don't-
another one.
don't-
Hang on.
don't-
Oh,
don't-
hang on. Give me a
I know
minute.
he's got stats there. He's
Let me
got
find the
like
stats.
50 sheets of stats that he
Just
murdered
hold
me
that
with.
thought. Go on, carry on.
All the seasons he's been at Spurs, he's produced 30 plus Premier League appearances every season. I've heard.
That's not
Well,
bad,
I've
is it?
heard.
Yeah,
I'd
that's
say.
not bad,
It
is
was
it?
on TalkSport this morning, but yes, because everyone keeps mentioning about his injuries. You think about it, he's not really been injury prone, has he? He's had the odd niggle that's kept him out of important.
February 5th, 2021, 7 days. I'm not doing it again, sorry. No.
Yeah, but compare that to Aguero, though. Compare it to Aguero.
Well,
I
that's
can guarantee.
That's my worry.
Out less.
That's my worry. We don't want. Do we want that other injury-laden?
Well,
Striker?
put it this way: if he's getting near enough close to the golden boot every single season, I'm not asked if he plays.
Fair point.
Like 20 games, 30 games, 10 games,
Yeah,
goals
and
win
the thing is
games.
with Harry Kane, he's been running to the ground by Spurs. We wouldn't do that. He'll be managed. So,
Yeah, well, you say that, but look at Aguero.
well, I mean, but we've had 10 years out of Aguero. With
Yeah,
4 years
yeah,
of Harry
yeah.
Kane scoring 30 goals a season. We're winning everything again. So, yeah, that's it.
Is there anything to be said? we're kind of digressing here, but sorry, we're on that ship. We're going that way. Is there anything to be said for not bringing in a striker and seeing what Delap's like and giving him more time, or do you think, like I do, that we need to bring in a seasoned, tried and tested goal scorer? Dan, I'm going to ask you that question.
If I'm being perfectly honest, I had this discussion. I don't think it'll be that big a problem. There's a lot of talk whether you believe the talk about whether there's enough money to buy anyone a specific target, i.e. Haaland in the 100 plus. I know there's been talks about Danny Ings and stuff like that being a more financially stable person to get in the box. But if you think about it, what Bibby was saying earlier about the ball's coming in, there's no one there to put it in the back of the net. And yes, I understand that's the way Pep likes it, and it does work to a degree by the fact that the opposition don't know who is the striker that particular minute, let alone over 90 minutes. It chops and changes left, right and centre. But the amount of chances we have in a game and it's pulled back and there's no one there to slot it in, or it's crossed in early and there's no one running onto that, that's prime Delap territory. I know he's still very young and he's been doing it in the EDS league, but it just takes that one person, it doesn't matter how good you are, just to get on the end of one of these crosses and put it in the back of the net. And the one thing I always relate to Aguero being is terrier. He is a terrier. He gets into that space and just slots it in. Yes, he scores worldies as well, but we are lacking that tap-in type player. Dzeko was brilliant at it. I don't think he got the plaudits he deserved for the goals that he scored for that type of role. But yeah, I'd happily give Delap a chance at that.
Question for you, and maybe we've not seen this. Maybe we're not seeing as many tap-in type goals is because Sterling's not been on top form. He's got a knack of being in the right place at the right time for that type of ball across the old FIFA goal. You know, where you play your kid brother who's 10 years younger than you. You always score by going to the byline, crossing it in, and completely beating everybody. That type of byline. Is there anything to be said for that? For Sterling not being all guns blazing with us not scoring as many goals like that.
It's his brain. He overthinks his play far too much. You know, I think it wasn't Dortmund. The game before, he was on the left wing. I think set it up for Jesus the weekend. Leicester. Yeah. He could have smacked that first time, and I would have put money on it, even though it was Sterling. He's missed some howlers in his time. I would have 9 times out of 10 put money on him putting that in the back of the net with a first time shot. And yet he overthought about it. He had to control it. He had to bring it down. He had to try and find it. Eventually, he did lay it off to Jesus and it scored. But so many chances. Just about, exactly. He just overthinks the play too much. Just have a lash, have a smash. He scored 30 plus goals last season. We know he can do it. He just needs to believe in himself and just do it first time.
All right. So if you look back at the teams, I'm gonna use the Man United team in '99 here. They had 4 probably world class strikers. Well, no, it's fair. They had 4 world class strikers, and that was like the benchmark. You have 4 world class strikers, and now that's kind of dropped down to having 3. And for the last couple of years, we've only had 2, and now Aguero's going. We've only got Jesus. I don't think we're equipped to just have one number 9. I don't think we've got that. We have to get somebody. And obviously, that bringing in somebody would be the second one, and having Delap as like the third man. I don't think Delap is a replacement for Aguero in terms of having that second striker. It's a lot to put on somebody at 18, 17, 18 years old to do that. And I worry that if anything happens to Jesus, would be forced into playing somebody out of position all the time. And that's my big concern. My big concern is like you've gone from having these 4 world-class strikers, and then maybe sometimes having 3, and we've had 3 for years, and now it's dropped down to 2. One's going, we're left with 1. I just don't think that's going to be enough. It's a lot of pressure on one person, especially somebody like Jesus, who's not necessarily prolific. Needs somebody.
I do think we've been lucky this season, though, in terms of, like you say, Aguero only being fit for probably half a season now, and Gabby chipping in with goals. Gundogan being an absolute bagsman. No one ever saw that coming. His goal return this season. I think we've been very lucky in the fact that the teams around us have been dropping points left, right, and centre. I don't think anyone would have put money on Liverpool losing as many games this season, especially at home. I think we have been exceptionally lucky with the team that we've got. I do think if we were struggling for goals, systems would have been changed a little bit earlier. I know the talk of Delap coming in. He has scored a goal for us. Was it in the League Cup that he scored for us this season?
It was one of the cup games. It must have been the League Cup from memory, yeah.
Yeah, so he has had a sniff around the team. There was a point during the season as well where his attitude, the Twitter again was going into a meltdown about his Delap's attitude and getting a stupid yellow card. In fact, it might have even been the same game where he got a stupid yellow card for kicking out at someone. So I can see why he may be keeping him on the sidelines for the time being. There's a lot that was said in the previous years about Foden not playing in the first team week in, week out, and look how that's turned out for us. So in Pep I trust kind of thing. But again, I think we've been lucky with our striking rotation this year. I think that the whole Sterling, him overthinking it. I think United are having the same problems with Rashford at the moment. He seems to be getting into the same situations where you think he's just going to rip the arse out the ball and put it in the back of the net. Instead, he's overthinking it. He's cutting the ball back. He's doing stupid turns where he shouldn't be doing. I don't know what it is with the mentality of some strikers at the moment. Rather than trying to find the onion bag, I genuinely have no idea. Talking
about strikers, Donyell Malen has been linked with Liverpool recently, and obviously he was on your list of players you'd like to see come in at City. What's your thoughts on that? Are we missing out a potential 22-year-old superstar in the making there?
Hands down. Hands down. I still to this day don't understand why there isn't as much hype about him as there should be. The lad is not as good. But to put in perspective, if anybody doesn't really know much about him, he's sort of the Mbappe-style striker. He knows where the back of the net is. He's a workhorse. He's pacey. He dribbles on the ball like a bat out of hell. If he goes to Liverpool, we're looking at a player every time we face Liverpool that will score the winner against us. That is how good and how highly I rate him. He is such a solid player, and unfortunately, I think it'll ruin his career going to Liverpool just because he'll be a Red. But we're missing out on a top lad, and he'll be a hell of a lot more affordable than Haaland. But of course, everyone has their eyes fixed on Haaland. He's the one banging the goals in the Champions League, and that's what we want: goals in the Champions League, mainly to win us it. But yeah, I'm gutted if he moves.
Just looking at some stats for him here: 40 games, 24 goals, 8 assists. It's not bad, is it?
Yeah, and for a weakened team, Brian's good at saying it, but it's not as bad a league as many people think out of. It's a tough league, the Dutch league. You've got maybe not the high-ranking teams, but Twente, how you pronounce it, Feyenoord, Ajax, Vitesse are a good defensive team. These teams are in the top teams, but it's a quality league, and he is scoring goals, and he's funny enough, he's not even the main goal scorer for PSG.
Just seen who his agent is. Have a guess who his agent is.
Yeah, that's the only downside.
Raiola, just in case you're wondering. So yeah, I can understand that. So let's do some predictions then for the Leeds game, just to give you a bit of an idea of Leeds. They're 11th in the league. I've lost my league table. They're 11th in the league. They got a -1 goal difference. The last 5 games: 1-2, lost 2, drawn 1. The last game they got through, the scrapes over the line against Sheffield United, wasn't it? I think it was, from memory. Was it Sheffield? Yeah, Sheffield United 2-1, looking at this. Beforehand, they got beat by West Ham. They drew 0-0 at Chelsea, and they won 2-1 against Fulham. So, they're not pulling up any roots, are they? But I was thinking they're going to be a danger, but a -1 goal difference. We've got...
These are the games I think that Bamford's going to try and secure a win against us. I think this is the games that we typically don't turn up in.
Mm-hmm.
It worries me a little bit, this, and I'll come to the thing what I said at the start of the show. Looking at that as any normal self-respecting football fan would look at that thinking City are going to turn up and smash these lot, but I know City too well.
Well, that's the thing. A lot of us. There's obviously two sides of the footballing world, especially when it comes to being a Manchester City fan. There's the teams that you think they're going to absolutely steamroll and you should be scoring 3 or 4, and then there's teams like this who are inconsistent but picking up points and getting results at teams where you think, okay, they're probably going to either get a draw or nothing, and they're coming away 3 points. These are the games that we typically do not turn up in. We'll control the game, and then lo and behold, we'll be 2-0 down because we've been counter-attacked twice.
Well, the only plus side we've got is they've scored 47 goals and they've conceded 48. As long as our defence is shored, then we've got to be comfortable that we're going to be able to score at the other end, haven't we? I mean, our defence is looking solid. Dan, here's a question for you. Obviously, Cancelo played at left back. Was it last night? No, night before. And Mendy played the day before that. The Leeds has got to be lined up for Zinchenko coming back in for contention, hasn't he?
I hope so. He only needs one more appearance and I've won my bet.
Is he really? Oh, how much do I owe you?
I think a hell of a lot of gratitude and respect over my mind.
You've always got my gratitude and respect. I'll buy you a pint for our Christmas night out. Maybe a double. We'll get Bibby, just so you know, at the beginning of the season, I basically said there's no chance Zinchenko starting. Mendy's going to have an absolute worldie, and Cancelo's going to come into his own and be brilliant as well. And I just couldn't see Zinchenko having anywhere near the game time at his head. And I think I said to him, if he plays 10 games, I'll be amazed. And I think that was pretty much the bet. Was it 10 or 15, Dan?
It was 10, then you upped it to 15 later on when he started banging some starts.
I saw that he started playing in the League Cup, and I was like, oh, for God's sake, he can't make up the numbers in the league games. That doesn't count. And then he started playing Premier League games. I was like, actually, he's better than Mendy at the minute. Yeah, he's going to play more games, so I wish I'd redacted that statement, but never mind. Who are we thinking? So we're going to have Henderson in net, aren't we? Who's everyone thinking for defence then? We've got Diaz and Stones, Diaz Laporte, Ake. Is it time for Ake to come back in? What's everyone thinking?
I wrote my team down in preparation for this because I never ever prepare for these questions, so I've wrote mine down.
Good, like that.
My back four would be Ederson, Cancelo, Diaz, Laporte, Zinchenko.
Cancelo at right back?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just because I feel like...
Do you say Laporte and Diaz?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Just because I feel like if he plays... If he drops him and goes back into left back, at least if he plays in Dortmund midweek, which he probably will as well, he's had a game in his familiar position, so he's actually still ticking over rather than missing out, and playing out position quite often. So that's why I put Cancelo at right back, give Walker a rest, because didn't Walker play every game in the Euros as well, or most of them? He played quite a lot of games, so given his age and stuff, I think he's probably due a rest.
You think? What do you two think of that? Do you agree with that? We can't have. I think it's got to be pretty close, hasn't it? Can you see Walker starting over Cancelo?
If I knew the answer to this, I'd be able to start my fantasy football team out this weekend.
Honestly, I'm so pissed off with fantasy football. Honestly, I had Cancelo in last week, and it's just like, what is the point? What? Honestly, that was a proper table getting flipped over moment. And then I looked at my bench and everyone's bastard injured. It's like, I can't get subbed in now either. Anyway, I'm not playing fantasy football next year. I get too angry about it. Midfield, Gundogan, KDB, Rodri.
Foden. Fernandinho for me.
Fernandinho playing for
Rodri.
Fernandinho as well,
I think Rodri just needs to have a bit of a step back after midweek.
Yeah.
I do think he'll face Dortmund again in the reverse fixture, but I think this is, in terms of the way Leeds play, it's Calvin Phillips versus Fernandinho for me.
So you don't think he didn't have a very good first half last game he played against Dortmund, did he, Rodri?
No, but me and Brian completely disagree in terms of it. But I think he'd be pushing 5 or 6 out of 10
Okay.
throughout the whole 90 minutes for me. He not so much he needs to step it up. I just think he just needs to have a bit of a step away from first team. And against Leeds, I just think the experience of Fernandinho is paramount.
That's fair enough. So the forward three there. We're right. Fernandinho, KDB, and Gundogan. Yeah.
I went with Fernandinho, KDB, and Bernardo in the middle.
No
Ooh.
Gundo.
Just give him a rest. Let him
Okay.
keep him ticking over. I think keep these guys fresh. The only reason I've done that is because I don't think Bernardo will play against Dortmund.
Yeah, fair point.
So he's playing this game, doesn't play the next, and let somebody who doesn't play this play the next. You know what I mean? It's just about rotation now.
All right, well, moving on to the front three. I think Jesus will start. I think Sterling will start. I think Foden will be on the bench. And I can't make my mind up about anyone else. So help me out, lads. What are we thinking?
I actually thought Bernardo might end up playing right wing in this one.
Okay.
I thought he might end up coming here because Mahrez was okay, I think, midweek. I think he's been firing all cylinders. I think Mahrez has been one of our best players this year, if I'm being honest. I don't know whether or not he's going to play in this one because I think he'll definitely play midweek again. So I think Bernardo, personally, I think Bernardo will be playing on the right for this game. And Foden will play in the centre.
I'm gonna go for a squeaky bum front three of Torres, Aguero, and Sterling.
Torres made his debut against Leeds in the 3rd of October last year. There's a stat for you.
Yeah, I'm not far from you there, Don. I went with Sterling, Aguero, and one of Jesus or Torres. That's what I went with.
I'd like to see Torres play. I really would like to see Torres play.
I agree.
I think it's like give him a game, let him have a run around. We can change it if it's not a good hour. We can change it.
He had a good international. Yeah. Really good international work for him.
I'm disappointed we've not seen more of that Foden and Torres on the left-hand side. Remember that interplay that happened when they first played together? I really enjoyed that, and I'm disappointed I've not seen that since.
Just on a point there that they mentioned about international football then, I wouldn't be surprised if you actually saw Garcia play this weekend off the back of he's been playing for Spain, and he wasn't playing bad. He's played well for Spain, so in a game where rotation is probably the most important thing, you're looking at maybe if Diaz is not going to play, then Garcia would probably be the next one in that slot for me in rotation.
I did see something about Garcia this week as well. I'm not sure if it was true, but did you hear that apparently his offer that got put on the table has been reduced by half?
Yeah, shame that, innit?
I said last night, like maybe if he signed a new contract, it wouldn't bother me. I'd take him for another couple of years.
Absolutely,
it'd be a great 4th choice centre back. He's a Spanish international at 19 years old, so
at half the money we pay him now.
You
can pay us. Anyway, listen. Cut long story short, I'd have him. I have no problem with him whatsoever. I prefer players to be honest about what their intentions are. I have no issue with that whatsoever. I just and he's performed. He's played all right since Pep trusted him. Why not? I was really disappointed at the prospect of losing him because I thought it'd be him and Laporte at City's centre half pairing for the next 5-10 years. So, but until this is before Diaz signed. So, if we get to keep,
I'll keep my mouth shut then.
before we get to that, I'd definitely keep hold of him. There's no question about that. Okay, predictions, lads. Predictions. Have we done the full lineup? Is there anyone saying that Jesus is playing over Sergio or Sergio over Jesus?
I think there's a good chance of both start. To be fair, I really do think there's a good chance that they're both starting.
I mean, it is Pep. For all we know, Carson could be striker.
Put Edison up there instead.
Yeah. I tell you what, he'd probably do.
I'd love to see Edison up front for one game. Honestly, I was going to say I'd pay good money, but that's obvious.
Right, before you move on, let me quickly just say now, would you have the same reservations if the substitution went up and they brought off Rodri, and then coming on was Zach Steffen, and then they did the old David James stuff and pulled out Edison?
I'm about to say, where have we seen this before?
Yeah, pulled out Edison's blue top and had him running midfield. Would you have any reservations about that? Because I would be.
Stuart Pearce like, strides out of the tunnel.
The David James thing was farcical, but I would love to see Edison having a knocking
just
in
midfield.
balls.
Just in midfield.
That'd be great, that wouldn't it?
Yeah, low stick Yeah, it'd be brilliant.
He'd never
Now
shit
that-
out of an header.
Not just that though, opposition would be scared shitless of him.
Well, you wouldn't-
He's the right
Yeah, because
psycho, isn't he?
David James was like a fish out of water. He was an absolute lunatic, wasn't he? But I don't think Ederson would be like that. I think he would be the most composed,
Yeah.
like enigmatic midfielder we've ever seen. He'd be honestly, he'd just be floating balls, digging them in like 1-2s.
Brazilian Pirlo. Yeah, that's what he'll be, just dictating in the middle of the pitch.
Centre circle, wouldn't he? Just be there pinging him out left, right, and centre like a quarterback. It'd be amazing.
The guy has a big smiley face on his neck. He'll be down Dark Street alleys holding a lead pipe telling kids to hand over the candy, for Christ's sake. I don't know where that came from, sorry.
What was that? What was that talking about? Where did you go with that? Poor Edison.
You think he's just, like Adam is an absolute lunatic, so he could be doing anything.
Oh, I love it. But yeah, long story short, I'd love to see him play in midfield. Why not? Stick him in midfield against Crystal Palace in a few weeks. Let's see him rumble it up a bit.
The best that Joe Hart got was a penalty in a pre-season friendly, wasn't it? So
Yeah.
who knows what Edison will get up to in the future.
I'd love to see that. We just never go into. That's the really sad thing. Stick him on for a pre-season game. Why not? We're digressing massively. Right, predictions. Bibby, you're new. You can go first. What's the score going to be?
I think it'll be 2-0.
2-0. Dan?
4-2 City.
Fucking hell. 4-2. That's precise. Okay.
90th minute winner. How can you have a 90th minute winner?
I'm about to say, yeah,
4-2?
2 goals in 90 minutes.
A QPR style. Bloody 4-2. Hard work, this.
Brian?
I think maybe
6-4, 90th minute winner.
4-1, and I think 4-1, and I think we'll go behind. So.
Do you? Oh, I can't handle that. I can't handle saying that. Leeds haven't got a bus to park, have they? They can't.
It'll be a very open game, so I think that'll be a case of ding dong up and down for 90 minutes for them, and I think they'll probably get strike first blood, and we'll just. I think we're too good for anybody at the moment. So.
I hope so.
Famous last words.
I hope so. 4 games left, lads. 4 games to win the league.
It'll be less than that if United keep on dropping points.
Oh.
I've said it'll be over just before the cup final. I think other teams will drop them out, and we'll go into that cup final on that day as probably being champions on the day, because we'll be playing the last game of the weekend, won't we? In the final.
One thing I want though, I think it's almost a dead cert, touch of wood, that we will win the league. I want to win it with us winning a game. I'm sick of.
Yeah.
I think
United losing last year. We won the league from it. I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Guess what? Yeah.
Yeah. It's just like, oh well, look, lovely. They lost. We won it. I want to win it by smashing the crap out of whoever we're playing on the day and lifting the trophy there and then.
It felt a bit like, get the warm prosecco out, not the cold one. Oh.
Yeah, that'll be it, Dan. The cup final. We'll win the cup final. We've won the league on the same day. So that's my prediction.
You think City will win the league and the cup
on the cup final same day? Because I think the teams around us will drop points.
Oh man!
And it just every team around us that doesn't win, it's less wins or points we need to put together.
I tell you what, my work better expect a couple of days holiday getting booked on that afternoon.
Was the last time that it was in our hands to win the game to win the league? The one where we lost
Brighton.
Yeah. And then the time before that, was it in the Manchester derby at the Etihad?
Oh, don't remind me of that.
I'm just saying, boys, if it's happened, we want it to be in our hands. We've had it twice and we ballsed it up. Let everybody else do it. We'll win it We'll win it when we win it. It's fine by me.
I tell you, we'll be doing a show. Put it that way. We're coming straight on air for that. Can we just stop talking about winning the league, because it's not won. It's nowhere near won yet. It's still not mathematically.
Not over yet.
It's not over yet. It's not over.
I've missed you saying that.
It's not over yet. It's not. I'm gonna have t-shirts printed. It's not over yet.
Jesus, they'll be lifting the trophy up and you still be saying it's not over yet.
Yeah, he might trip up on a stair going up the stairs, Dan. Leave it alone.
He's not picked up his medal. It's not over yet.
Not over yet. Can I celebrate now? I'm quivering in the corner, just shaking like, oh fucking hell! Why is Edison not taking free kicks? Right, let's move on. I've digressed totally. Right, we've got 2, potentially 3 players coming back from loan, Nemeccia and Harrison. The question is, Dan, I'm going to come straight to you on this one. Are we ever going to see them in blue shirts, or are they getting shipped straight back out again?
Nemeccia, I very highly doubt it. He's been on loan a few times now. For the past 6 years, he's been out on 5 years or something like that. He's been out on loan, and yes, he's starting to score goals for Anderlecht. Is it Anderlecht he's still at now?
Yeah.
I just, who knows? He might twig Pep's fingers a little bit and maybe get the odd little game time and prove his worth and training and stuff like that. But I just don't see him doing it. Jack Harrison, you know my thoughts on him. I would love to see him play for City. I think that lad has so much quality; it's unbelievable. But I do think his move to Leeds will be made permanent in the summer.
Yeah.
For the price that they're talking about and the player they're getting, Leeds will be stupid to turn it down. And especially with the likes of Pablo Hernandez potentially retiring at the end of this season, Leeds have got to keep their numbers of quality players up because they're going to miss big style if they lose both him and Hernandez for the summer.
Are we assuming that Harrison's not playing against us on Saturday then?
He can't. Yeah, he can't.
That's right. Good. That's obviously a bonus for us. The only issue I've got with Nemecha, all the goals I keep seeing him scoring on Twitter are from penalty spots, which is actually that's not such a bad thing for City at the minute. in reality, I don't know if I've reserved. I don't know watch enough of him to judge whether he's suitable to play for us or not. So I'm going to be in your hands, Dan and Brian, with that. And
his brother needs to get the call up first. Put it that way. Felix is absolutely outstanding. How he has not got more game time, even in the cup games, is beyond me. He's brilliant. But then again, if I was his older brother, I'd be pissed off. But
well, I think the one thing that Lucas Nemecha's got going for him is he's been out playing men's football. Belgian football's not the greatest level, but he's been doing it, and he's been playing with other professionals. He's been running he's been putting a shift, and he's been scoring goals. So he'll be coming back to City pre-season, which I guess he will be doing.
Yeah.
He'll probably be given a chance to show what he can do, and he may well be that second, third striker that I've been looking for, even if it's just for one season. If he gets given a chance and he doesn't perform, then obviously you had your chance, mate, off your pop. You know what I mean? But I'd like to think that these lads that go out on loan and actually, especially in a position that we're actually crying out for, if you've got a player there who's scoring goals and he's putting a shift in, and he's from the academy, then I think he's going to get a chance.
And I think you touched on it earlier as well, Brian, when you were saying that if Jesus goes out injured, we've only really got Delap. And if we don't, I do think we're going for a striker. However, I don't think we're talking Haaland. I think as much as the hype has been building, especially with Foden saying, where are you moving? Are you moving to Manchester now or something like that? I think that's all bull. But I do, since you've just said that now, maybe think he might just remain as a third choice striker. Whether he'll want to, with Delap also only just getting called up, he scored goals for a senior team. Delap hasn't, so that might actually have the edge over him. And if Delap's getting promised first team football,
it's a little bit of the pecking order in terms of senior football. I think that's what the only thing that I think to me is, because if Aguero was staying, we had another striker, I don't think we'd be seeing a match. But we're actually in a position now where for one season we need somebody there, sort of thing.
Yeah.
I've just been, I should never read something when I'm doing this. My mate's just sent me the Granada team lineup for the game against United tonight. It's got Vera Duckworth at left back, Fred Elliott and Roy Cropper at centre half, Chesney at right back. Oh, Jack Duckworth up front. Oh, I love it.
He's got one about Elton Welsby in there, right? Elton Welsby was always on Granada, wasn't he?
I absolutely love it.
You can only
Taxi Steve. Taxi Steve's out on the right wing as well. Hey, I tell you what, it was a big surprise. I only found out today. Roberto Soldado, Spurs flop, is their striker.
Really?
Soldado?
Soldado, yeah, he's their striker. 35 years old. He's been banging them in for them.
Come on, Soldado.
It was always a good striker. He just some season went to Spurs and just couldn't be bothered.
Who is it that they sold him to? And it was like one of them mad, where they have thousands of people coming to the stadium to try and welcome him. He tried to kick the ball into a stand twice and then still managed to completely miss it.
Sounds like a Galatasaray type signing, that, doesn't it?
Yeah.
They all come to the airport and take him away. Bonkers, that.
It's unbelievable.
I love stuff like that. It must be so embarrassing that. We got in front of Real Madrid fans, you got to do kick-ups. I don't want to do bloody kick-ups.
They did it with Barcelona, didn't they? Was it Dembele when he signed for them? He couldn't keep one kick up in sync, and he just kept flopping it down there. I think he just went, fuck it.
Yeah, there's a couple of someone tried to do a rainbow flick in the middle of like 60,000 people. It's like it's not happening, son. Don't even bother.
Yeah, just
They don't do them like Jerome Boateng anymore. Come on, before you even get to the touchline, break your leg on the plane.
Just see
if it were me doing this parade in front of 60, 70,000 people in like the Bernabeu, I'd just get the ball and give it the old have it. Like, get over the fence, straight out of the stadium, walk off. There you go,
That's
boys.
it.
This is what's coming. This is what's coming.
Parker coat and dark fruits, then kick a ball into the crowd. There you go. That's exactly what you're getting.
City's next strike is just stick it on the penalty spot and put it in the back of the net. Then that's how it's done.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. I was completely.
No, now look, they still put it wide.
Oh, I'm not going there. Right, change the subject. Right, April. City Dave has mentioned the possibility of what we could actually achieve in April, and it is pretty phenomenal. If we win all our games, there's a chance of us becoming league champions, League Cup winners, FA Cup finalists, and Champions League semi-finalists. I think April 2021 is the biggest month in City's history. There, I said it. I think it's huge.
Since March 2021?
Since March 2021. And I tell you what, January was amazing as well. No, I honestly, I think this month is absolutely bonkers. I just don't know how we're going to do. I'm still feeling that.
I know Dan doesn't like talking about the word that begins with Q, but I don't. Oh, the quadruple.
Oh, sorry, right.
Sorry. But it's a possibility we're knocking games off at a time, and you know one of them's practically done. Got 1 foot halfway in to another. We're almost in the semi-finals of the Champions League. You know we've got. We do face the possibility that we might have to play Chelsea 3 times in 6 weeks or something.
Yeah.
League, essentially FA Cup
Yeah.
semi-final, and then a potential Champions League final, which I think they've got probably the best chance of getting through to that from their side now.
They beat Porto, didn't they? Is it 2-1?
Yeah.
Yeah, but this is what the now after the game between Bayern and PSG last night. They're now second favourites to win the Champions League. We're talking about a team that got smashed by West Brom at the weekend. How the hell's that work?
It's the form, isn't it? You know, it's just there's one off that. West Brom.
They got smashed by West Brom.
It's because of who they've got in their side of the draw, though, isn't it? It looks like Liverpool are going out. You know, and it looks like.
Do you think bookmakers in Spain have the Spanish clubs as their main number one chances of winning it, and the clubs in Germany they do the same thing, or do all the bookmakers all over the world?
If they do, I think I might go going over there, putting a bet on the quadruple. Then you might get better odds. Like odds on now over here for us. Yeah, 10-1 in Spain.
It's bonkers what we can achieve. You're right though about playing Chelsea. We generally could.
Nah.
I'm pessimistic about it all. The Premier League, I think I'll. If we fuck that up, that's it. Like I don't think there'll be any more. Yeah,
deleting my YouTube, Facebook can piss off.
If we end up ballsing that up, then yeah, there's no way back for us ever.
That'd be one hell of a capitulation in the league to not win the league from there.
Yeah,
considering what we've been through, you know, to get to that.
We've got negative City fans on every aspect of social media. Can you be imagining what they would be saying if we didn't win the league from this position? They'd want everybody out. Yeah. They'd want us to invade Dubai, for God's sake. It'd be ridiculous. Absolutely bonkers.
Going back to your point, though, what Dave made there.
Yeah.
We've been in this situation before where we've been close to the quadruple's been mentioned like for the past 3 or 4 years now when we've been getting to these positions. Have we been in a better position this? I think probably against last season we probably were just as good a position we are now. The only thing that I can say is more of gives me more confidence in the fact that we've got a really, really strong defence now, so we can deal with issues that might come along when it comes to the tougher games, rather than we might run out of steam, but that running out of steam doesn't necessarily mean we're going to lose games. We might just get over the line rather than just not get over the line because we're a bit lacking in quality. I think with the fact we've got a really solid defence and the fact we've got every single player fit means we've just talked about the team for this weekend. We can rotate this weekend fully, rotate for the Dortmund game, rotate again. We can keep this going as long as players are fit. and this gives us the best chance to do that.
And we've got a full strength squad as well, haven't we?
It's insane that for this time of the year, absolutely insane.
Is that luck, or is that just because I've had City fans talk to me about slating our physios for the amount of injuries we've got? Have the physios improved, or are we just lucky this season that we've not come up against?
I think it's just down to pure luck, really. I mean, we've had some
Management,
bad luck, haven't we? A couple of seasons ago, we lost 2 of our best players to cruciate ligament injuries in the space a couple of weeks. So swings and roundabouts in it.
For me, this year it's management. Hands down. Physios, yeah, I think the physios have improved. They can't have got much worse. Jesus, it seems like one player comes in, another goes out, you know. But Pep, the reason I've always put it down, I always go back to what Halifax said at the beginning of the season. City will win the league. This is his words. City will win the league, and this is going back in September, October when the league just started. City will win the league title because of the way Pep plays, and that's rotation and man management. When a player's been out, like De Bruyne, like Aguero, they've been eased back in, not flung straight in, eased, and you're starting to see the effects now. We've got a consistent reign of form because players are getting rotated, they're getting minutes. A lot of players that wouldn't normally get minutes are now playing alongside players that are getting tons of minutes week in, week out. And we're still winning games when the likes of Sterling are out the squad, the likes of Mahrez get taken out the squad, the likes of De Bruyne are out the squad. Gundogan stepped it up when he was out. The rotation, the man management, the way it all's connecting, and I think the confidence has to play a lot of things into that. When you're a team and you're low on confidence, of course you're going to feel crap, and I think injuries come more about it. It's more of a mental thing rather than a physical thing, some injuries, and I think it's just helped winning as well. If we're losing, if we lost 2 or 3 games around that United loss, I think we'd be looking at a completely different picture.
One thing you didn't mention there, Dan, which I'd like to chuck into that little mix you made there, is we now have a plan B. Pep's never had a plan B, has he? Now he has this plan B of this false 9 that is working. I could do better than plan A sometimes. You know, when we might have had an injured striker or no strikers, well, it's not a problem. Here we go. We'll play 2 central midfielders up front. You know, or this plan B now is strong to the point where it doesn't really matter if players aren't playing or not fit. Whatever system we've got to play with, whatever players come in that position, they're at it because they know that they're ticking over, and it's literally they're in 5th gear when they come to the game, they're ready and they're up for it. And that comes down to the fact that the plan B is so strong.
And the depth in a squad is brilliant. I mean, you can count so many positions where we've got 3, maybe 4, in some cases 5 players that can play in one position. It's phenomenal, the squad we've built.
It's bonkers, isn't it? And that's the only positives the massive positives we've got going into the end of this. I can't believe we've got a full strength squad with the amount of games we've got left. It's brilliant, really.
Interesting on Wednesday as well. Did we only make 1 substitution the entire game?
Good point. I
think we only made 1 sub. So either the system that he's playing he's happy with and he feels like he doesn't need to change it, or he just thinks, right, okay, it will swap like for like. We'll either, I don't know, try and go a tiny bit more defensive, or just, okay, you man mark that person out of the game. Royce, potentially, just throwing that one out there. 1 substitution in an entire game, and I think he made it in, like, when did he make it? The 70th minute, maybe? That says a lot about how Pep sees our
Jesus coming on
the pitch.
Jesus came on, wasn't it?
Yeah, for Aguero. So that's I say like for like. It was a centre forward for a centre forward. Obviously, they bring 2 different types of things to the game, but it just shows what he thinks and what he's seeing on the pitch is they're playing to his game plan. Why does he need to change it?
Yeah, well said. Exciting times, Blues. I'd rather be blue than red today. I know that. That's a different story. Right, okay, come on, Granada. Right, so we're going to leave it there. We're going to have a chat on Saturday at the game. Might do a little cheeky pre-match show before the Leeds game. It's an early kick-off, isn't it? Is it half 12 kick-off from memory? Yeah, half 12.
Tom, before you wrap it up, mate, I just want to ask Dan's opinion on something. Dan, did you, obviously this is about Haaland. Did you see the Haaland walked out of the tunnel and didn't step on the City badge?
I love that.
He walked around it.
I love that. I've got a lot of time for that.
Yeah, he walked around. He was the only person on that team that saw it and walked around it.
Is that because of my views on it?
Theories, the kicking in at me. It's like he didn't do that, and he was whispering sweet nothings to Foden, and he had his blue backpack on. And
well, I tell you what, that's the most pitch he's covered in that whole game going around that badge, isn't it? You know my views. He's a lazy striker, great striker, but lazy. Solid.
He can stand still all day for me if he scores 50 goals a season. I'll take that.
I've never seen anybody built like a fridge move as fast as he does.
He's huge, isn't it?
Like he's been smacked by a fridge, and I'm talking that.
Well, we all know how good Diaz has been. In that one moment, he threw Diaz to the floor like he was a 5-year-old kid. Then he bodied him. He was down. He was done. Got down, son. Palmed away. And Diaz has been our best player. So, you know, that in that one glimpse, imagine him doing that all season in the Premier League. Dan, come on.
Oh,
yeah,
it's
not Pep's player. It's not Pep's style of play. We've got to remember Pep's the manager. He's here for another 2 years. He's going to bring in Haaland. His agent's going to go play pussyfoot around for money left, right and centre. He's going to have bad reputation with Pep. Pep's not going to play Haaland. When he does play Haaland, Haaland's not going to do what Pep wants because Pep wants the team player that drops back, picks up the ball. He didn't do any of that against Dortmund, taking nothing away from his striking ability. He's a world-class finisher, without a doubt. But he's the laziest bastard I've ever come across that's classed as a world-class
striker. What, lazier than Yaya Toure?
He's young enough to change his ways, though.
He is.
Yeah, he's 28. You know what I mean?
Look at
Aguero never did that.
Sergio Aguero came good with Pep's tactics, didn't he?
He was always on the shoulder of a defender, and now you see him coming back 20 yards deep to try and pick up the ball. Very Carlos Tevez. Carlos Tevez was doing that role before it was even a role. So, yeah, I think Haaland could definitely change. I mean, anyone who can sprint as fast as he can, built like he is, he's just going to body centre-backs left, right and centre.
I tell you what, if we signed him, it would be amazing.
Even if he doesn't change, you build the team around him for 50, 60 goals a calendar year, it doesn't bother me.
No. And then he gets injured, and then you're going to
players run. You just make 2 players run twice as much. Simple as that. You got to do it. He's a generational talent. You have to do it.
We'll just get a little piece of string, tie it to Phil Foden. Phil Foden can do all the running for him, and then he can just mop up the goals. And yeah, why not? Crack it. They're already best mates, aren't they? Talking the other day.
Mbappe plays off the shoulder as well, though, and he's absolutely rapid. Is he not a Pep player?
He's an all-round striker, though. He'll do everything. Drop back, pick up the ball, out wings, everything. Haaland's one-dimensional for me.
Put it this way, the amount of clubs that are after him, you must admit that there must be something good about him to be as wanted as what he is.
No, I do get a lot of stick for basically saying Haaland's the biggest pile of dog shit since on Park.
Oh, please tell me you don't think that.
Oh no, that's what I mean. I'm not turning around and saying that's one great big pile of shit. No, that's not how I feel about him.
This podcast, I think we need to put an explicit warning on this, don't I?
We all know Dan is in love with Malen. We know it.
Well, I've also been in love with Belotti, and he's about the same as ugliness about him, you know. But I can't believe I'm basing a player on the looks. I'm a straight guy, married happily, and I'm talking about Haaland as if he'd been hit by the bloody fridge.
Yeah, but to be fair,
it's a rumour that's not going away.
Yeah, but look at Ruben Diaz. You won't kick him out of bed, would you? Oh.
That was the reason he came.
Yeah. Come as a cardboard cut out at the end of his bed. Not you, Dan. Ruben Diaz.
Oh no, I've sent him a few. He hasn't replied yet, but I've seen the pictures of him at the end of the bed. Apparently, he wakes up to me with a big smile on his face.
You've seen the pictures of the end of his what?
Hey, easy.
Don't start spinning rumours like that. I don't feel like we should end the pod on that.
You can cut this bit out. It's fine. It'll be fine.
Don't you wish, Jason? Technicolor raincoat. Come on, let's crack it out. Let's end it that way.
Are you singing?
No, I was joking.
That's not.
Bibby, before you came on, basically, Dan's got a massive obsession with Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat.
I don't.
He played Jason Donovan when in school. So basically, he knows
His
all
nickname
the
was
words.
Donny.
His
nickname was Donny in school, yeah.
So what we've said is we're going to put the question out to all the people that watch this to create a song for us to chant in the terraces with the words of Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. So that's the challenge we are throwing down to Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, everything out there. So
looking forward to listen to it.
Yeah, I can't wait. I'm gonna just tell my missus.
Ringtone.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell the missus I'm not coming to bed tonight. I'm just getting on that energy shit that you've got behind you. And I'm up all night. That's it. That's me done. A crash of drums, a flash of light. No, right, I'm going. Right, good night, Blues. Thank you very much for joining us. It's been lovely to see you all. We'll speak to you soon.
I close my eyes.